The ovaries are talking, and trust us, you'll want to hear what they have to say. Science, tech, hormones, and a whole lot of honesty. This is Talking Ovaries.
We are on.
Hi, welcome to Talking Ovaries. This week we're talking about whether or not you can indeed reverse grey hair. Also, do you dream more or less during perimenopause and menopause? And we'd really like to highlight a fantastic influencer who is looking at the safety of women whilst working out and running. So let's start with our first one this week, which is going to be the influencer that I follow, that I've been talking to Tanya about. A lovely woman called Lily. Follow her on Instagram and various other platforms. And her name on Instagram is Lily Lifts. So Lily highlighted last year the fact that many women during the time when they're running or when they're at a gym, they don't feel safe. And so she created something called the Night Club, which was for women who wanted to run at night, but who don't feel safe. I'm sure you can relate to that. I'm sure you can relate to that, Tanya.
Yes.
Not feeling like you couldn't run at night.
It's something that you always worry about. You have to plan it so you don't go out at night. I actually have a scary story where I was followed by someone, not even at night, during the day, and it scared the crap out of me. I 100% relate, and I'm very happy and excited that she's actually doing that, and she's getting a lot of women to do it, because we have to take control. Enough of this, that we have to stop doing things because men are aggressive or violent. They should be the ones that have to stay indoors.
So the premise of the Night Club is that she brings together women in different cities and towns across the UK, and she's expanded into different parts of Europe. And instead of going to a nightclub, you belong to a nightclub where you can run with other women when it's dark and feel safe. She also really highlights the fact that when she's at the gym, she's always really supportive of other women being there, because it can be very intimidating. So follow Lily Lifts. She's incredibly inspiring.
This brings me to a discussion that I heard on Instagram, actually. I think it's related to what Lily's trying to do. They were talking about safety with women. There was a rapist in one of the university campuses. The action that was taken to tell women there's a rapist on the loose, you must stay indoors. And the podcaster was saying, well, why weren't the men told to stay indoors as opposed to the women? Why is it that we don't do it that way? It should have been. But if that had been done, could you imagine the outcry? Why do I have to be banned? Just because there's one guy out there, not all men, right? Like this whole thing. But it's totally okay, and nobody thinks about it twice, that women shouldn't go outside because there's a rapist on the loose. Like, that really made me think about it. And I think it's all so pertinent to what Lily Lifts is trying to do. Like, I think we have to change the narrative 100%.
Oh, for sure. So way to go, Lily Lifts.
Go, Lily.
So Tanya asked me to put something on the episode this week, which was what's on her radar. It's not on my radar, and you'll see why in a second. She wants to know whether or not we can reverse grey hair. Can we?
Well, because remember, I think I mentioned at the last episode that there was a little tidbit from the Diary of the CEO that he had a professor on and trying to look at if you could reverse grey hair. So I listened to the episode, and I have to say, wah, wah, wah. First of all, it was more of a marketing thing. What the evidence shows is that during periods of stress, a few of your hairs may turn gray because you're stressed. So it's a body response of trying to protect energy within your body. So they'll dump whatever's not useful. So putting color in your hair, not important right now. So it's going to go gray. And then once you're no longer stressed, it'll go back to normal, because they can find hair that is dark or has color and then it goes gray, and then it goes back to having color. It's more a stress link with hair color, but I think it's quite a stretch to say that maybe we can reverse gray hair. Like I don't think so. And even in the episode, they said, well, once you've gone past a certain stage, once we are with your beautiful mop of gray hair like you have, there's no way that you're going to be able to reverse that. Maybe 20 years down the road, somebody will figure it out. So there's obviously an on-off switch. But I don't think I'm going to stop dyeing my hair anytime soon. I have found hair in myself sometimes where it's gone from one color to the next, in my eyebrows especially. So sometimes I'll find a dark eyebrow that has a gray tip. So that's probably more of a stress response. But anyway, so no, we can't.
This might be something for a deep dive in another episode. If there was a way of us doing that, someone would have marketed this and be making their gazillions on it. I've been grey for a very long time. And I think for me, one of the things that I kind of come up against is this whole idea of having grey hair makes you older and makes you look older. And I think particularly for women, we are talked to on social media and various other areas where having grey hair is just not the thing. And the really weird thing is, when I went back to the UK and I met up with some of my old girlfriends who I did my nursing degree with, I was the only one with grey hair. And in the UK, it is very much more frowned upon than it is here. I think it was forced a little bit by COVID, where women couldn't go to hairdressers and stylists to get their color done. But I've been grey for a really long time. I call it Arctic frosting.
Yeah, no, I think I struggle with it because I'm mostly gray, but I dye my hair and I'm sick of it. Like, I'm so tired of it. It costs money, it ruins your hair. But I am not ready to go to be visibly gray.
Yeah.
And you are judged for it. 100% you're judged for it. As a business owner, if I'm gray, I'm going to be judged differently. I'm going to be looked at as being done or not capable of running a company just because I have gray hair. And it's a very sad thing, or a sad statement of society and how we look upon women. But it's the reality, right? So you can fight it and face the consequences. Over time, I think it's going to get better because I think it's getting better. But I am guilty as charged that I'm just going through what I've been conditioned to do, and I'm trying to stay young.
Yes, it is. And also, I'd like to add to this is that it is very difficult, particularly if you have lovely long hair like yours, to actually make the change. And there's
Transition.
all kinds of things on social media about grey transitioning and how you do that. And, do you have to have this line for years and years and years? People are paying a lot of money to do that. This is a whole other topic that we can go into, but I'm glad we've raised this, and maybe we can do some further research. If anyone has any experience, we'd really like to hear about that.
I think you have to shave it all off and let it grow in. That's really the only way. Go somewhere for 6 months, shave your head, and start all over.
Well, I have to say, everyone thinks that when you have grey hair that there is no maintenance to it. I can tell you that's a complete lie,
Yeah.
because it changes texture, it becomes very different, and it's something that you're not used to. So it isn't necessarily any easier. Well, this week's deep dive, I received an email from the Women's Health Coalition. It's worth subscribing to their emails. They were highlighting a bill that's currently going through the Senate for a national framework for women's health in Canada. And this has been spearheaded by Senator Danielle Henkel. And this is Bill S243. And I was really intrigued about this, and I knew nothing about it. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about why this is something that we should all be supporting, and writing to our MPs about our experience as women. Why do we need a women's health framework? And I think it's because we've identified that women's health is incredibly fragmented. And what I mean by that is that provincially, healthcare is taken care of, but federally, it's where they look at policies and priorities within healthcare within Canada. And because of that, it means that some provinces are doing really well and some provinces are not doing so well. So, depending upon where you live, really dictates the kind of care that you're getting as a woman. So, the idea behind having this framework is that we provide some consistency across the country, which is put into law through an act, which means that we have a framework. Now, what could this mean for us? It could mean that research funding becomes much more consistently applied. It isn't just applied to women of reproductive age, because basically, right now, if you're not reproducing, there's no research. Also, the research into new medications, it's just not there because there isn't a framework to force it. But the bottom line is that this framework would almost put people's feet to the fire. Because if it's in law and it's enacted, then it means it's something that we have to do. Now, the thing I was really interested in is what this will not give us. This isn't going to give us thousands of menopause clinics overnight. It is not necessarily going to overnight provide us with new medications or new research. But the idea is that if we have this framework, the S243 framework, it will mean that there is some acknowledgement about cardiovascular health in women, about perimenopause and menopause care, about osteoporosis, because right now we have different policies for osteoporosis and the way in which we test that. I was really excited to hear about this. I'm not sure why I hadn't heard about this, because if you think about it, if we hit menopause in our early 50s, we could spend almost a third of our lives menopausal.
With no
And do
proper
we?
care,
No,
right? No proper
no.
care, no alignment, no, yeah,
And if we look across the country at the number of menopause specialists, for example, there are some territories who have zero.
yeah.
And there are some provinces that have quite a lot. Alberta, BC, we have quite a lot now of menopause specialists. But also acknowledging the fact that menopause shouldn't be almost specialized care regularly unless you have some other health challenges. It should be primary care. That's where it
100%.
should be taken care of. And I think the other thing is to mandate assessments as well, that women need to have, particularly in midlife, they need to have a full health care assessment, and they are doing this in other countries. So I think having something like Bill S243 will really help us to create that framework for Canadian women.
I am guilty of not looking into it myself. I did know about the bill because Femtech Canada is involved in trying to push the bill forward. So I've seen through our Slack channel notices about the bill, and I am connected to the senator through LinkedIn. I do follow her. Yeah, I think it's trying to make sure that we have continuous care. And I wonder, so the one thing that I've been meaning to look into, because my big beef with the medical profession when it comes to women's health is that, so now we know, for example, that there's been a huge gap in menopause care where most physicians haven't been educated with menopause care. And yet I see zero urgency to educate the physicians or force physicians who are practicing to get educated. Right? I don't know of any other profession that does not require their members to stay up to date with current medications. Like there should be a course that is mandated for anybody who graduated post whatever to say within this time frame you need to get educated on this, right? Like this is what I don't understand, and I wonder if a framework like this could help with that, like, or if that's something that could be added to say, well, you have to stay up to date with the information that's going on, right? So anyway, so that's very important. So I will take on that. I need to look into it further myself and push it along as well.
I would suggest subscribing to the Women's Health Coalition newsletter. Their emails are actually, but I get a ton of women's health emails. This is one I always look at. Following Senator Danielle Henkel as well and providing support to her. And then if you want to, writing to your local MP
Yeah.
about your experiences, copy Senator Henkel on this and really bringing to light some of the issues that we've had and why it is that we need these policies to be put into law.
Yeah.
We need this put into law. But let me tell you, doing some research on this, this is a global issue.
Oh, yeah.
What you've just raised about physicians not having up-to-date training and there being policies in place to force that is a global issue. If you look at Dr. Louise Newson in the UK, she actually created a charity to raise funds to train GPs on menopause care. It's happened in Australia, it happens in multiple countries where this is just not something that's there. But I think this isn't just about menopause care. I think we need care for women with cardiovascular health, thyroid health,
Everything.
osteoporosis,
Yeah.
gut health, brain health, dementia. We all know that it's way more women get dementia than it is with men. So I think having something that looks at women's health, it's enormous. It's going to take quite a while to go through. It's going through the Senate right now, but I think it's very, very interesting. And I'm actually incredibly excited. Through my other platform, Menopause Canada, I'm actually going to volunteer to be part of this because I've worked on some other frameworks before myself.
Everyone, sign up and let's push this forward. Need to do it.
So the last conversation we wanted to have with you was real life that Tanya and I were talking about the last time we spoke, which was, do we dream more or less during menopause and perimenopause? I'd be really curious to hear what everyone else has to say. But
Yeah.
yourself, Tanya?
Yeah, well, because one of the things that I've noticed, and this came in hindsight, but I've always been throughout my whole life a very avid dreamer. So I'm the person that wakes up and tells you about some crazy dream that I just had that makes absolutely no sense. But I would remember my dreams every day. Like that's a very normal thing for me. And then I went through a period where I wasn't dreaming and I wasn't conscious that I had stopped dreaming. But once I started taking hormone therapy, all of a sudden I noticed that my dreams came back. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, I had stopped dreaming for a while, for quite a while, and now my dreams are back. And I just wonder if there was a connection between me starting HRT and being able to dream again. Given that there are some brain connections, right, with estrogen receptors in your brain and Alzheimer's, so there could be a connection. I doubt there's any research you can share whether you found any or not, but it'd be really interesting to see if any other women have noticed this or not.
Yeah, I did actually look online. I went on various sites to have a look to see whether or not anyone had done any research on more or less dreaming during midlife. There is virtually nothing. And if you look at the work of Dr. Lisa Mosconi, who looks at brain health in midlife women, we know for sure that brain health or our brain functioning changes during perimenopause, particularly. And I'm wondering whether dreaming is just part of that side of things where because of the lack of estrogen, the brain is just working on things differently. But there is no research on it. So maybe talking ovaries can be the one that gathers everyone's information and we
Right.
see whether or not in midlife we dream more or less. I tried to look back. I tried to think back.
Yeah.
And I didn't really notice any changes. I know that when I'm more stressed, I do dream more. They tend to be, kind of doom and gloom dreams. But I did look it up to see whether or not there was
Yeah.
anything there. So we would, as talking overs, will be really interested to know whether or not you've noticed that during midlife, particularly during perimenopause,
Yeah.
that you dream less.
Yeah. It'd be very interesting to find that out. And especially if it's related to processing. We're complaining about brain fog, not be able to think clearly, then perhaps the dreaming connected as well. But yeah,
Mhm.
it should be very
Mhm.
fun. Let's see what
So
comes back. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. So this week, can we reverse grey hair? We don't really think so. Follow Lily Lifts. Really follow Senator Danielle Henkel, and let us know whether or not you're dreaming more or less. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and you know what? Share it with another of your talking ovaries or another one of your ovaries. I refer to
Or
Tanya
each
as
other's other ovary.
we're each other's other ovary. So who's your other ovary? We would
Yeah.
really like to hear about that. So we will see you next time. Bye bye for now.
Bye.
Talking Ovaries is here for information and empowerment, but not medical advice. We recommend discussing all aspects of your health with your healthcare provider. If you'd like to be part of Talking Ovaries, hit the like and subscribe button along with the notification bell. Or you can show us some love by writing us a review and sharing this episode with the people in your life. Talking Ovaries is written, created and produced by Tanya, Lindsay and Judith Pringle. You can stay up to date with the Talking Ovaries by signing up for our newsletter and following us on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. We read every review and email. This material is protected by copyright.